Radiel+3 Enhanced Sacred Shroud. When each turn begins, inflicts 20% mana overload on all enemies, and reduce mana gain 30% for one turn. Additionally, heal all ally 10%. Radiel's max HP and damage reduction against stronger element 10%, and increase damage to weaker element 10% for 3 turns, stack 3 times. Let's see Radiel+3 in battle. Radiel+3. Radiel casts skill, and now every turn will inflict 20% mana overload to all enemies when Sacred Shroud is active. Now look at when the mana overload will be inflicted. Is it before enemies cast skill or after enemies cast skill? Radiel casts skill and gets Fatal Blow, which triggered Nia+5 Awakening. Inflict Fanatic, which is also another 50 mana overload. Is Radiel's mana overload and Nia Fanatic mana overload stack with each other? Yes, as you can see now, Director N and Messenket gain mana and overcome Fanatic, but Radiel's overload still present in their mana bar. Now observe Radiel's Sacred Shroud mana overload inflict every turn on enemy and reduce their mana gain 30%. How badly they can affect the enemy in term of mana.
Always follow your heart.
For the light of Nea.
Mason Keat is already 100% mana overload and none of the enemy be able to cast skill.
For the light of Nea. Let all things return to gold.
Always follow your heart.
So have you found out the answer already? Radiel's mana overload inflict on enemy before they cast skill or after they cast skill?
Let all things return.
Answer is after they cast skill. It would be even better if the mana overload inflict before enemy cast skill for even stronger mana control.
Always follow your heart.
Radiel+5 Sacred Shroud no longer consume mana, and it reduce damage taken 50%, reduce mana cost 60, and remove and gain immunity to unconscious and effect unable to cast skill. His skill now can break 50% shield, steal 10% defense from all enemies for 2 turns, and also deal damage to all enemy equal to 500% own defense. This awakening changes Radiel to so much stronger. Now let's see him on battle. Radiel casts skill. Now he can maintain his Sacred Shroud without have to worry about his Sacred Shroud being removed, since there is no mana consumption at +5 Awakening. He is also remove and immune to unconscious effect during Sacred Shroud, which includes Silence effect.
For the light of Nea.
Always follow your heart.
For the light of Nea.
Bubble +5 gets Fatal Blow and inflicts silence on all enemy. Radiel, who is on Sacred Shroud, is not affected.
the likes of Naya.
Radiel is going to cast skill. Look at how much shield he can reduce on enemy. This shield is gone. Radiel+5 combined with Aurelion+5 is a good combo. Aurelion+5 can reduce enemy attack and defense 50%, and Radiel+5 steal another 10% defense from all enemy. Sacred Shroud and Aurelion. Every turn damage is also very useful to bring down the enemy passively. Aurelion+5. When enemy reach 10, stack of offensive or defensive weakness will stun enemy 3 turns. Combined with Radial Mana Overload can effectively slow down the enemy. Now all enemies are stunned due to Aurelion+5 debuff reach 10 stack. Now observe Mana Overload slowly build up every turn plus stun on the enemy. Please also observe the extra damage every turn from Radiel and Aurelion.
Always follow your heart.
Now let's talk about counter for Radiel+3+5 Mana Overload. One of the most fearful ability of Radiel is his Mana Overload every turn during his Sacred Shroud. If you are not mindful, your whole team will be deeply mana overloaded by Radiel. So far in game, there is one hero that grant immunity to mana overload to all ally, and it is Insulator+3. When cast skill, she grant all ally immune to mana overload.
Always follow your heart. Always follow your heart.
Enemy Radiel cast skill. Mana overload start to be inflicted on all attack team heroes now. Insulator+5 cast skill. Now all attack team hero immune to mana overload. However, Fanatic is not considered as mana overload effect, hence Insulator and her all ally will still have to gain 50 mana in order to overcome Fanatic effect.
Charging complete. Switching to full power.
Now let's see a showcase of Radiel+5 on defense versus Radiel+5 on attack. Attacker has sleep artifact. Defender Radiel still sleeping. Attacker Radiel has already cast skill on first turn and start inflicting overload on all enemy.
In Naya's name.
10 stacks of Aurelion debuff on enemy, and all of them stun for 3 turns. Damage can be done on enemies and overload or building up on enemies. Luminbri is executed, not even be able to cast a single skill. Fanatic is inflicted to all attacker heroes. However, Radiel is not affected due to his immunity to unconscious from Sacred Shroud.
Always follow your heart.
Defenders are still heavily mana overloaded.
Grant all things the value always follow your heart. In Naya's name.
Defender Radiel is executed.
Always follow your heart. In Naya's name. In Naya's name.
Radiel+5 can cast skill in enemy Naya's realm and not be bothered by being inflicted fanatic.
In Naya's name. In Naya's name. Always follow your heart. In Naya's name. In Naya's name. Always follow your heart.
Now let's talk about Radiel problem as a taunt hero and defense team. Radiel's main problem in defense team is he is not taunting on the very first turn. In high-level play, attackers can make sure they can cast skill on very first turn by using weapon with mana plus 36 when battle begins, and rune with mana plus 5 when battle begins. Defender Luminbri is already executed, and Radiel still not doing a single thing. Radiel is being hit multiple times and even being silenced, and still he cannot do anything. If it were Luv Bu, he would have breaking out from being controlled and get his unrivaled and immunity to unconscious.
I guess we I'm for you now, huh?
Two of the defense team heroes are killed, and when Radiel gets fatal blow, he finally gets his immunity to unconscious. At turn 6, he only starts taunting and functioning. Radiel+3+5 is a very good attack hero. He can start cast skill and start inflicting mana overload to all enemy as early as end of first enemy turn. When combined with Naya, which can inflict Fanatic on enemy, which require 50 mana to overcome Fanatic, synergize well and make enemy heavily mana overloaded. Radiel also synergize well Aurelion+5 in term of 1. Aurelion debuff when reach 10 stack will stun enemy 3 turns, and combine with overload from Radiel, enemy will have hard time to gain back enough mana to cast skill. 2. Every turn damage from both Aurelion and Radiel will be more significant after enemy gets reduced the 50% defense. This way allow passive damage done on all enemy, and the damage is significant. Radiel+5 Awakening is what really changes the hero. His Sacred Shroud no longer need mana consumption, and he remove and immune to unconscious and effect prevent casting skill. Radiel is fine to be a taunt hero in defense team. However, he has one big problem. That is, he is not taunting on first turn. This allow attacker be able to do something or even kill some heroes in the defense team, especially in high-level play, because they can use weapon with mana plus 36 when battle begins, and rune with mana when battle begins. Recommendation: Radiel+3+5. Middle to high power player. If your main color or strong color is yellow, it is very good to have Radiel, especially you have Naya to use him in attack. For defense, he is okay to be used, but as I mentioned, he has main problem. That is, he is not taunting, and his immune to unconscious only kicks in after he casts skill or gets fatal blow, which allow control effect to be done on him.